Blade Runner 2049. Let's do it. So Blade Runner 2049 is directed by Denis Villeneuve. I believe I said his name right. Do not know. Well, this guy did films like Sicario, which I really liked, with Benicio del Toro. Arrival, which I have not seen yet, but a lot of critical and audience praise for that film. So going into this film, we have stars like Ryan Gosling playing Kay. We have Harrison Ford as Deckard coming back, his character Deckard from the original Blade Runner film. I'll let you guys know right now, the original Blade Runner film, there's multiple cuts of it. I've seen one of them and I was bored in one of them. I thought it was a very boring film. It had that sci-fi element, really reminded me of Ghost in the Shell. Going into this film reminded me of Ghost in the Shell. But what I really love the sci-fi elements in this film. I really love the music that was playing in here. I really love the mystery of it all, because that's what it is. You know, the trailers didn't really showcase a lot of what was going to happen in the film, and I really appreciate that. Kay, Ryan Gosling's character, was fascinating. I was not necessarily like, oh my god, I got to root for this guy like forever and ever. It was more of, this character is, I'm following along with this character. I'm finding out a lot of stuff, like he is the guy that we're in his shoes. It's like saying, when I was watching on the big screen and watching him perform, and I'm watching all the things he's doing and what they're making him do in the film, I'm like, that's me. That's me in his shoes. That's me probably doing the same things that he would do. The movie is beautiful. The movie is absolutely gorgeous. With the $150 to $180 million budget, it has to be, right? It has to be, but the director really showcases and does not waste a penny whatsoever on a budget. He really makes this stylish, sleek, beautiful. He makes this, there's open landscapes where it's just desert, but then when you're into the city, it's all crowded, and it's very just gorgeous to look at. Even when it's dark, when it's bright, all the cinematography that's used in this film, all the shots that are used in this film, all the direction that is used in this film, I applaud so hard. But how's the film as a whole, and how does the pacing? Because the original Blade Runner, I really felt like it was such a long film. This film is almost 3 hours long. Did it need to be 3 hours long? No, it did not need to be 3 hours long. And honestly, I think it's 3 hours long just to give Harrison Ford more screen time. Jared Leto in this is hardly in this. He's more of a cameo than anything. He's cool looking. He's spouting out biblical stuff. But when it comes down to it, his character is just kind of there. He is just the face of corporate, so to speak. What I love about this film too is, yes, like the original, but more so in this film, more to appreciate, and really kind of when I'm sitting down in the theater and really kind of grasping everything that's being thrown at me, I really love the, these relics. I really love how, what's real, what's not real, what it means to be real, what it means to have a soul and not have a soul. There is one particular plot point in this film that harkens back to the original, going into here, because this is a straight sequel, where I'm like, yeah, that throws a wrench in everything you believe in and everything you thought from the original, but now just taking it and running with it in the sequel. It's exactly what a sequel should do, following up its original's, cult classic. Now this movie might become another cult classic because it's bombing in a box office. What can I say? I think the performances are really well done. I mean, I think Ryan Gosling does a fantastic job. He always does a fantastic job. There isn't too much of a smile with this guy. He's not going to be that lighthearted character you want, but yet he just really conveys a lot of emotion even without saying too many words. There's a companion that he has in a film that I think was a hit and miss. I think sometimes it worked, and then sometimes like, did this really need to be part of his life? I think they could have used without it. If you know what I'm talking about, it's pretty much his little fire stick. One thing that really caught me off guard was one, Harrison Ford, but the second one was Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista is in the opening of this film, and I think he did a great job. I'm just watching it, I'm like, this guy kind of this has this old man Logan kind of feel. I like the way he looks. I like the way he's acting. He's doing a fantastic job. He's doing good for himself. And I was thinking the whole time, like, The Rock did a fantastic job with his career. Dave Bautista is doing a fantastic job with his career. But even though this movie bombed, Harrison Ford in the film, not too much in the film, but he's a very vital part in the film, so to speak. He does fantastic with whatever he's given. He says hardly any lines. But what's so great about Harrison Ford is he's so old, and he's not trying to hide that he's old, and he really just like showcases a lot of facial acting, and that's what I loved about Harrison Ford in this film. I thought he just really conveyed a lot of emotion, even though he hasn't been in this role in how many years? It's been a decade, right? One thing that I loved about this film was the music. The music, how it wasn't just your everyday kind of score. It had this like computer, like very ominous atmosphere. Yeah, the one thing I disliked about the score was the boom, like this Hans Zimmer kind of like hitting you every which way. And I think they really used that because there's a trick in film where they just have this loud noise happen out of nowhere. And I think that was used just to wake up people in the theater because it's a very lengthy film. And I think they used that to kind of wake people up. I have to say though, the best thing about this film was the sound mixing. I love all the sounds that was put into this film. I love the look of the cars. I love the sound work that was presented in the cars. I love the sound that was just used for everyday devices that, Ryan Gosling's K was using, or any of the big corporations was using. I really love the sound mixing in here. I think the sound mixing was on point. The look of the film was, like I said, it was very sleek. It was very dark when it needed to be dark. It was very bright when it needed to be bright. The CGI usage of the film was very balanced with some of the practical stuff. I really love the look of the cars that they were driving. I really love the different odd world type scenario, but yet real world type scenario for a lot of the cities, for the LAPD. I mean, you had like Little Tokyo in Los Angeles or San Diego. Just everything that was presented on the screen was just this different kind of world. This not yet Mad Max apocalyptic world, but a world where it seemed like we just were overpopulated, and this is what we are now. There's things that happen at the very end of this film that I wish I would see a third film really kind of exploring more of what they presented in this film. But since they cut it and, the budget is not there, and, the overall it bombed at the box office, we're not going to get a third Blade Runner film, I don't think. It's still a great contained film. It's a really small film for a bigger picture. Once you watch the film, you see that there's a bigger picture going on, but it's still contained in that small story it's telling. So Blade Runner 2049, even though I wasn't too big of a fan of the original, it makes me want to go watch the original, and I just highly recommend this film. It's not going to make me watch it 5 more times, but I could watch it maybe 1 more time and just still really appreciate all the things I've seen, all the things I heard, and it was absolutely a great watch. And I definitely recommend anybody who is a big sci-fi fan to go check it out. It stays true to the original, explores more from the original, and just carries on into this film and just kind of runs with it. So definitely worth a watch. Thank you guys, and like I always say, grab a tick, grab a seat, make sure you got some good popcorn to eat. I'll see you at the cinema. Bye guys.